Welcome, fellow travelers. My name is Pawkets, and I am joining Chibi and Vertek at the Golden Feather Tavern. Come on in, grab a seat, and let's share tales of adventure.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Golden Feather Tavern, where your hosts, Vertek and Chibi, discuss Ashes of Creation and important topics spoken about within the Ashes community. At the tavern, we invite you, the viewer, and a special guest to pull up a chair, grab a pint, and join the conversation with us. Today is the 7th of June, 2025, and we're on episode 238, Anti-Cheat, Skill Trees, and Economy Updates. And the traveling bard joining us today is Pawkets, aka Pawkets Art, aka the teacher that makes cool stuff, man.
AKA Pocket Healer.
Yeah. How you doing today there, sir?
Also Pocket Protector when they changed the name from Tank to Protector, you know.
Okay. Hey, I hope they do.
One day.
Like now that we can gripe about that later. Anyway, sorry. And the other lovely person here is Chibi. How are you doing today, and what do we have on tap?
I am doing pretty well. I am repositioning myself on screen, sorry. But today we have actually a lot going on. For some of you who have been around in the community literally today or recently, you would know that there was a PvP tournament part 1 happening today. Part 2 is tomorrow. And actually I found out that the one and only Pockets over here was a part of that last minute. So I'm going to ask him some questions about that. But Lloyd definitely carried that whole thing. So Lloyd was doing a great job today. So I'm gonna kind of do a mini shout out to that, but then primarily we're going to be talking about the skill tree changes coming to phase 3 and a little bit of anti-cheat things that Intrepid is dealing with, as well as whatever else you guys want to chat about at the end. But most and importantly is our guest Pockets. And Pockets, how did you find yourself in a PvP tournament today? Because you are a suspect, and suspect was not part of that list. So tell me about that.
Well, first off, I would say that to piggyback off what you said about Lloyd, Lloyd definitely rolled with the punches that he got today. But it wasn't a beautiful thing. I did feel bad for all of the surprises that happened today. Lloyd, you did an amazing job.
Yes.
Actually, the last person before Lloyd talked is the reason why I got into the PvP tournament. Hoosy came to me yesterday and said, hey, you should come to our PvP scrims we have tonight. And so I showed up and they were like, hey, you want to scrim with us today? And you want to do a tournament with us tomorrow? And I'm like, okay, sure.
Sure, why not?
In phase 1 and phase 2, I really degened the game, and I had really good gear and stuff like that, and I have not done that in 2.5 because I've just not been as dedicated this go around, and so last night I determined that I do not have the gear to to really hang, and that became even more evident in the PvP tournament today. But had fun, enjoyed it. My group was really nice. We had a nice little, what do they call it? I don't know, but even Lloyd joined in with us with our little teabagging sesh that we had before the fight. We were trying to intimidate the other team. It didn't work.
Valiant effort, though. Valiant effort.
Yes.
Yeah, sadly, I missed a lot of that tournament. Sorry, Lloyd. Sorry, everybody. I've been bogged up with work the past couple of days, so I had to do stream prep and actually watching the live stream that Intrepid had so we could actually talk about stuff. But I will be watching the tourney after. So
Yes.
with you being somebody who is in there, what were some favorite fights of yours? Some favorite highlights?
So probably the best thing from the entire tournament as a whole was seeing the time to kill shorter or like longer than what it used to be. There was a fight in the one from phase 2 that I was talking about where it got down to like a 2v6 and then a
Mhm.
mage deleted 5 of them like within like
Ooh.
one single like rotation, and like you didn't see any of that this go around. And so like it feels like time to kill is in a better spot than where it was.
Good.
Personally, I didn't watch a lot of the other people fighting. The one that I liked the most that I was a part of, and like we're probably one of the worst performing groups within the tournament today, but still that's still one of my favorite ones. Was like I got focused really early on, and my raid frames even moved off of my screen to the other side, and I was like, where's my people, where's my healing? And like we did well on the initiate, but we actually ended up losing the fight in the end. But
I actually grabbed that. I grabbed a clip of that. Let me go grab that link real quick.
No.
Oh no, he says.
Oh no.
Honestly, I have to agree with you. I was in Pawkets chat like asking so many questions. I was like, what is happening? What does this mean? What does that mean? What are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on that? And there was actually like a little bit of drama with like interference from outside and like Dusty's like skirmish with one of the groups. And so I was like, what is your take on this? What does this mean? But I actually, in our Discord, I put a couple of clips, and I didn't grab any of them because of any specific guild. I grabbed the ones that had a longer fight. Like I learned today, a lot of PvP fights happen in less than 60 seconds. I didn't realize how fast they could be, but yeah, so I grabbed a lot, and they had some really good people. There was Gilded Gaming, there was Polar's groups, there was Eclipse, and there's a lot of really good fights, and there's some I probably missed as well. But it was really interesting. And Pawkets, it was really nice to watch Pawkets have a spot and everything, and just kind of see. And like, I mean, honestly, you did about, maybe I would hope to be that good at least. Because like the gear differentiality between yours and like not even your own teammates, but I was looking at like Lloyd had put so much work into putting like the different teams on the screen when he was like watching the scrims, and the power differential from left to right was just crazy. Like one team had like 220-ish almost for each person, and the other was like 183. Like that was a big difference in power, so that had a lot to do with it too. So my other question for you is what kind of things are you anticipating on doing? Because obviously we have 2.5 until August, and a little bit of a spoiler, if you haven't seen the live stream, they're officially wiping for P3. So where does that leave you for 2.5? And do you then feel like you're more anticipating phase 3, or are you just kind of riding the wave?
So phase 3, I was looking forward to, and it was timed and planned really well for a teacher. Ideally, phase 3 would have started once my summer break started. Right, that's ideally what I was hoping for and what I was wanting, and so, but like I was like, okay, never mind. I have like the last bit of my teaching to get out of the way. I won't be able to go hard on phase 3 right at the start, but I'll come in, you know, a couple weeks later, you know, and catch back up, and I'll have all summer to build with. And then they made the announcement to push phase 3 back to, inconveniently, the first week that I go back to my in-service training is August 4th. And
oh man.
I'm starting to work again once phase 3 comes. And so like, honestly, at this point, I don't even care when they push phase 3 too. Like if they have to push it back again, okay, I'm okay. Like, it's gonna suck either way. Yes, it just sucks. Embrace
Pawkets
the
is gonna
suck,
be holding
right?
a sign that says
Embrace
summer
the
2026
suck.
is okay.
Like I was so ready for phase 3 in May, and then and honestly, I'm okay with the pushback to phase 3 because I want them to kind of get their house in order first. I actually feel that, and I know we're going to get to this a little bit later on, I feel with what they said in the live stream with how, like, because I don't know about anybody else, but have you seen any of the speed hackers recently?
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Like recently, you have?
Yeah, from our guildies.
Oh, okay. Well, like I've not seen them. Like I saw them early on, and maybe I'm just not playing enough to actually see it still. But it feels like it's dwindling down, and it feels like they're hitting those places where they need to hit them, and it's curbing that behavior. And so one thing that I do feel, and I don't know if this is the case or not, but I feel like the economy has not gotten rid of that stuff. So what I would rather see before they start phase 3 is to not only be able to find the speed hackers quickly, but also to be able to remove that gold from the economy. If they can't do that, push phase 3 back even further. Like wait till you can control those back end things, and then we'll be okay. But yeah.
And I mean, like maybe a couple weeks to maybe a month ago is the most recent time, because it wasn't actually us that saw them, it was our guildie who gave us a video of like a speed hacker going past them.
Yeah. But I mean, it's I gotta say, I was in the Wall of Shame cheer squad, hoping for one. But since it's definitively not gonna happen, it kind of makes me sad. But I can see their point. But I think that's just me, the type that like I'd rather that person's ego be smashed by being publicly outed. But I'm not the type that would go after and like harass somebody for it. So sometimes I think in my own frame of mind, and not really think about what others would do in that situation. So. It's a good point. It's valid.
Chibi, go.
I was gonna say, I think this is a great time to go ahead and just move right into that topic then, because Intrepid made the official stance. For those of you, again, that may have missed the live stream for the dev stream, Intrepid essentially said that they're not going to do any sort of official announcement of who they ban and things like that, because they don't want to incite these like witch hunts or, riots against people, no pitchforks and torches go into people's doors and things like that. But Pawkets, what is your view on that?
So I'm also pro Wall of Shame. I think that is the better way to do things, because if you notice that people are doing stuff and they seemingly get no consequences for what you from what you see, you feel kind of cheated, and you feel like the game is lessened because of that. Now, I came across some people in a guild. There were 4 people attacking a caravan the other day, and the guy's caravan they were attacking had a Chinese name, and so like the people that were attacking the caravan said, "Oh, we're stopping RMT." And I'm like, do you have evidence that this guy is an RMTer, or because they had the assumption, and this guy is not receiving consequences as what they're saying, and so like this is where I am pro Wall of Shame, because like these guys are taking it into their own hands, and they are already doing the witch hunting, and they are they're doing stuff from their player perspective to kind of curb a behavior. But do they actually even know? I don't know. I disagreed with them even for attacking the caravan, because it was like a 280k caravan. So even if they were to kill it and destroy it, the value that's in that caravan is not RMT level caravan money. Like the amount of time that you put in, you actually lost value and time value in it. But I guess whatever. Yes.
It could have been the seed caravan starting to make the little bit of money that they can to start buying other supplies to make it bigger. Never know. Maybe, but like. I asked the people, I'm like, do you have evidence that this is an RMTer? And they never responded to that question. But like,
I know you have assumptions, and I know you have assumptions for a reason. They may even be a part of a guild that you assume is an RMT guild, but like, how do you know that's not just some casual that just trying to play the game and trying to learn the game? And so I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what the right answer is, but
Yeah.
And that's, I think, the hard part. Like, I don't know what Intrepid has seen in terms of Wall of Shames. I will say, Bart has a tomato ability for a reason.
Except it flags you if you throw it at somebody.
Dang it.
could you
Rude.
imagine if some of the tourney disruptors were put into the what are they called? Like the
stocks.
Stockade.
stockades. Yes. That would have been really interesting.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing about a Wall of Shame that's put out
Shame
by a
them all.
developer. You know, like they have the
Shame.
proof, they have the evidence in the background, they have the inside knowledge that the rest of us don't have.
Yeah.
And it kind of shows like, yes, this name that you've seen doing a lot of stuff, it has actually been banned. It hasn't just stopped playing or changed character name.
Yes.
The account is gone. It gives more, like, I think it's more of a trust thing. Like, we can trust that, okay, they're putting actual names that I've seen doing bad stuff. Cool, they're taking care of it.
On the flip side of what you said there, like if you know a less than reputable guild and you know there's a guy that you've seen doing less than reputable things, if he just stopped playing, you assumed he got banned, right?
Yeah.
And so it goes the other direction. Like if they just stopped playing, you assume, oh, they got banned, or or they were a legit player and they just stopped playing, and you're like, oh, he definitely got, like it's still. I feel like that there's no closure for the players to actually know what happens with those people that you see.
Yeah. And it's also like that's how
system.
legends get rumors made about them too, is like if somebody is legitimately like top tier PvP, they're top tier PvE, they're just crushing everything, response times are ridiculous, and one day just something happens, anything in the world happens, they just decide to stop playing video games altogether without announcing it to anybody. Like, hey, I think that superpower number 1 got banned because he was like top of everything, having a grand old time, streaming and all, and then just he's gone. I think he was hacking.
You guys weren't on Vira in phase 1, but there was a guild that actually fits that kind of like mold that you're talking about. And like they were really good guys. I liked all of them. They just they're Australians and they just kind of stopped playing. But Elite Zenkai, they basically gave everybody in the entire realm a run for their money as far as PvP. This small core group, and they did really well with what they did. And yeah, they stopped playing in phase 2 and 2.5. So. It kind of fits that mold, and I know that they're just good people, like good players and stuff, and I never saw them doing shady stuff. So
yeah. And, oh, go ahead, Chibi.
I was just gonna say, I think that kind of shows like the difference between like what is like somebody who's actually not playing anymore versus somebody who was caught doing something. I know at one point there was like a rumor trying to be started that that Nexus was doing something, but like nobody in Nexus has ever been like bunked, right? So I think that there will always be either rumors that people are doing something or they aren't doing something, and there'll always be like, that person mysteriously stopped playing, or it could be a situation like I misclicked what class I was playing and then I deleted my character and I made a new one and suddenly I'm level 1 again, and you're like, wait, I saw TV Bree. She was like level 12, now she's 1. What happened? Yeah, I just deleted my character.
Must have got reset.
Must have got reset. Yeah, exactly. But like, there's just so many things that could be a reason for someone not playing anymore, or for like a character restart, perhaps, things like that. So there's just it's not always clear when it's because of a cheating thing and when it's not. But then you also have to take that a step further, like there have been rumors of X, Y, and Z guilds cheating or exploiting. And like when you join that guild, are you now guilty by association? I mean, before the stream, Pockets, you and I talked about like when a guild is interacting with your guild in a certain way, it doesn't matter if that person joined today, you might be a little bit more hindrant towards inviting them into your group, towards helping them, etc. So there's a lot with ashes, I think, and politics in game.
Yep. And the thing is also like a lot of our conversation on it is going to be kind of moot because Steven said like without a doubt it's never going to happen. But that being said, when it comes to witch hunts and whatnot, the thing to actually keep in mind is that we as players aren't the ones that really have like the ultimate knowledge, like actual knowledge base on what exactly is happening behind the scenes. For all we know, there could legitimately be a player that's working with an Intrepid member to be like, I'm going to find every way I can speed hack. And they're doing it for an entire week straight, just finding every possible method to get a speed hack. And then they're still around after that, but they stopped doing the speed hack. But they had like an Intrepid member like watching their video, and we wouldn't know that, you know?
Right.
I do remember in Carfin, Steven was streaming one night, and he went to Carfin, and he was going around to different groups. And they're like, he asked the question, why is this tank always coming back to this particular position? And then he opened up the panel and started to look at the numbers. And he's like, no, he's taking damage. And so like, it was very like intentional of what they were looking for and looking for a reason. Like why is he going to this spot? I don't really know what it is. Is he trying to avoid certain damages or something like that? And so like it was really interesting. I think that Steven needs to go back to streaming some more. I know he probably has a lot of stuff he's doing, but like I like to see that, or if not Steven, somebody else that's doing that kind of work would be kind of interesting to watch.
Yeah. And Duffel says, I wouldn't mind knowing what variety of cheats or exploits people are being banned for doing. It'd be nice to know at least what sort of negativity is out there to look out for. And Pockets, I see that you agree on that. But I think that it's also one of those things, maybe Intrepid might be a little like hesitant to share, because if they say we banned so-and-so for doing X thing, maybe somebody else who didn't even think about doing that goes, oh, maybe I could get away with doing it, So I feel like it's not necessarily like a slippery slope, but it's an easy thing of attracting the wrong attention. Kind of similar to perhaps like highlighting somebody who's bringing negative attention to something, and by mentioning them and bringing them up by name or something, you're kind of giving them viewership or like a platform in a way that I don't think Intrepid wants to do. But I'm just saying, Intrepid, if you want my opinion, we should be able to throw tomatoes at them at least.
Throw non-damaging that needs to be another skill point free selection in the bard, is throw damage free tomatoes.
Yes, for roleplay reasons.
Damage-free tomatoes.
Treason!
Is that not like the /spit from WoW?
Yeah.
Basically. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, exactly,
So,
Paranaught. Just basically like
100%.
snowballs. Yep.
Yes, but messier. LOS. Answer is always LOS. Oops. Other account. Oh, who's this Pockets guy? I don't know. Somebody who kind of wandered into the tavern. I thought he might have some good insight.
Found him outside, said he wanted to take part in open mic night. Figured we'd just bring him in.
Yeah, why not? But four of you said, heck yeah. Throws the tomato, and one of you are like, I don't really care about the wall of shame. And everybody on YouTube wants the wall of shame so that they can also throw their tomatoes. So we're here throwing tomatoes. Maybe that's something that we need to get Vertec for this, is like a tomato overlay. So if somebody wants to throw the tomato,
Heck yeah.
like do it.
Heck yeah.
Throw flowers? Okay, throw flowers too. Deal.
I feel like Redbeard's comment is actually like the consequence that people need is that reputation that goes with your guild. And even if you like leave guild, or even if you change your guild's name or things like that, that reputation still like people still know who you are. Like you can delete your character, make a new character. People are going to find that out eventually, and they're going to see you. They're like, oh, I know who that is. Some people that talk in all caps in global chat, like they're pretty identifiable. So,
Yeah. Fair. I'm gonna go ahead and end the poll. But yeah, I think there's a lot there. It's like, so just for anybody who didn't see it or if it went by too fast, right? Captain Beer says right now is this early in development is the time that reputation is made for better or for worse. If people and guilds are shitting on their own rep this early on, it says a lot about what kind of gamer they are. If you're gonna cheat or guild with a cheater for an alpha, then what are you gonna do when it actually matters? And I mean, to that point, I will say there are a lot of people that are new to Ashes. I just came across at least 2 or 3 of them in the last week who just joined the first guild that kind of somebody was nice to them and was like, hey, how's it going? Welcome to Ashes. And they're like, you know what? You seem cool. I'll join your guild. Like that's a very innocent person. And unfortunately, if they don't know the reputation of that guild, they don't know. And they don't know what they're completely signing up for at that point. But that being said, I've something about like the hero and the villain is dependent on your perspective.
Yeah.
So there's, arbitrarily like what is objectively the right and wrong answer, and then there's, well, what is the right and wrong answer in my situation, my perspective, etc. So yeah. But what if someone is falsely banned and Intrepid finds out the person did nothing wrong and now their name is tarnished? And I think, Basil, that is the exact reason why Intrepid is trying to avoid it. Because if they at least had an automated system where they found somebody who they thought was hacking. Let's say a good example is one of you guys or a couple of you were really nice and you're like, Chibi, Vertec, we want you to have a tavern in Ashes. And you came up to us and you gave us collectively 100 gold each. We did not RMT that, but it could look like maybe we RMT'd that. And that accidentally triggered something and we were tarnished and we were like, you're cheaters and we didn't do anything wrong. And now people think we're cheaters. And now that's a bigger mess to kind of fix than just not having it be public in the first place.
Actually, for all you cats in the chat, did this happen to Dusty? Because I think he was talking about this. Did this, like, because I know you guys like kind of move things around as a guild. Did this happen to Dusty? I guess Zenny, it might be the only one I see in here right off. I know Hoopsie was here earlier.
Do you have any context?
I feel like I remember this. So like I actually think that he was. I don't even know what it was about, but I felt I remembered him saying it, and it makes sense because like if you have like and even thinking beyond like the cats as well, like the like Pirate Software's guild would have even more. They were moving so much stuff. They were doing guild like, and that clearly looks like it's shenanigans is what it looks like, right? And so like it's kind of hard to be able to tell, is this like a guild effort or is this like, because in phase 1 I haven't heard, okay, so maybe I'm wrong on it, maybe it wasn't cats, I'm not sure, but it was pirates, wasn't it? Because
I'm not familiar.
I think it was pirates had the issue with their mount guy. Their mount guy had issues with it or something, but I don't think it was Dusty now. I think it was actually Pirates.
Okay.
But like I had given out like 700 copper and zinc to our metal worker because I was the treasure map guy. I would run around and do treasure maps, and so I was funneling tons of this ore when everybody was complaining about there's no copper and stuff like that. I'm like, well, there is. It's all in treasure maps, so like I was funneling like 700 ore to our metal worker guy, and so like I'm sure that looked a little bit sketch,
like suspicious, but they would have seen that you got it from the maps.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that it's fine. I just hope that their system is good enough to be able to distinguish between those.
And I think that that's the point that they're making, is at the very least right now their system's not in a place to just automate that kind of stuff with enough confidence that it's not going to get the wrong people as well.
There's also honestly not enough of a sample size to really dial in on what's normal and what's not normal at this point, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because that'll be something,
especially the fluctuation in population.
Yeah. I mean, that's something that they're going to end up probably going through a lot of iteration on and have to change it quite frequently based on inflation and things going on in the game and whatnot. That's going to be a constant update task for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to hear that in the stream where they were talking about like this is what we noticed, and we're going to pinpoint more and more to be able to see like that discrepancy. Chibi, I don't know if you realize this or not, but quite literally, I had a guy in my stream this morning who admitted to RMTing while on stream. He's like,
wow.
Yeah.
Like, what was the phrase? Hold on. I have it saved.
I remember him talking about it being sidelined.
How can I answer you? Let me think about it. We are a team of 8 people, and I am one of them. We sail in this game every day to make money and then turn it into real money. This is my sideline. And so we could tell that his English was not 100%, but bro came in so bold and was like, "Yeah, I sell gold for real money."
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
And they sail every single day, and so. If you're looking for a caravan on the water, look for 8 people. It might be this guy.
That's bananas.
Yes.
Can you imagine just having those cojones? Like, just they just had a live stream about we're going to stop all this stuff. We're tracking it. We're actively watching people. Yeah, I totally do that. That's what I do right there.
I do think I put this in my notes. I want them to come down hard on the RMTers. And I actually have acquaintances who do RMT in almost every single game they play. And they're like, I don't think that they'll do it in this game. And I'm like, I think that they're more worried. Intrepid is more worried about the speed hackers and program software and the small level RMT. Yes, right now it's able to kind of get by, but they're gonna knock that shit out too. And so they're kind of like prioring where they want their focus to be. And I think that it's the software that's currently the main prio, and it's gonna go into RMT a little bit later, hopefully.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all about priorities, right? Like if you got somebody, if you personally at home have somebody sending you a bunch of spam messages to your email, or sitting outside your house trying to saw off your doorknob, which one are you going to address first? Probably the person trying to saw off your doorknob. Yeah, and those spammy messages are just gonna hang out because you know they're there, but they're not that big of an issue as compared to this other thing.
I think that like the biggest thing that's gonna help Intrepid is, you know, you guys going out and taking videos of these things. So on that note, Intrepid did share the support.ashesofcreation.com link to report a player, and videos they mentioned are very, very helpful. They help a lot, as well as whatever other information you can give in terms of what you were doing, what level you were, etc. Also for bugs, but it kind of helps them kind of clue in a little bit more on maybe different situations and like server zones you're in, and maybe being able to find that person a little bit easier. But
looks like the YouTube one.
Yeah, I kind of didn't put a space between the two because it like rotated over. But I'll be putting this also in the description for YouTube watching later. But yeah, it's just one of those things. This is the alpha. It's crazy that people are doing that, but it is what it is. And I mean, Vertec made a really good point when I brought it up to him, because I was super excitable that night. I was like watching the live stream, I was taking notes. I would pause it and be like, oh my gosh, they're doing this, they're doing that. And he's like, I can't watch it right now. I'm like, okay, I'll try and wait. But like it's one of those things. Like, imagine these people are paying $100 to test, at least. And they are RMTing, they are, you know, cheating and things like that. So imagine how much
something
more,
that's going to disappear, like,
or something that's going to disappear, which is ridiculous to me. I don't have enough pride in like that for me to care, because like alpha, it's gonna go away. But like, imagine if there wasn't a cost. Imagine if it was just box cost.
Or in the case of Ashes, no box cost. You pay the monthly sub fee.
Oh yeah, sorry, monthly sub fee. Yeah. It's crazy.
I just hope that they get because like if they're all like, and I don't know if you guys know this, but before Alpha 2 even started, you could actually buy gold in Ashes on some of the sites. And so like they had already pre-alpha 2 already had gold selling on the sites. And it's like, I really, because I know what I have heard from Steven, it will be feared to buy gold in this game. And when I heard that, I was like, oh, this is what I love. I this is what I need. And I also played Once Human, and in the first week of Once Human, they had like 510-year bans of people that were in their game. And I'm like, this is the level of slap on the wrist that we need. I don't need World of Warcraft, like, oh, here's your 1 week because you use this, and this, and this, and you no, you actually need to come down on people, and you need to stop the stuff from happening. So I actually hope that it hits the level that I hope it does for Ashes.
Yeah, I agree. Same here. Now, the other big thing, Pawkets, I know you and I are super excited about this, and Vertec, you should be excited about this too, is Steven hinted, and I apologize, Vertec, I'm going to go get that image for you right now. I forgot to. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I was grabbing Steven it while we've been doing the stream.
I love you. Steven hinted at some changes to the skill tree coming for phase 3. And, well, Pawkets, you do a lot more PvP than I do. So what are your thoughts on this updated new skill tree thing?
I love it for some reason other than the PvP. I love it because I'm not a real cleric. For all the suspect people in here that know, they called out in the PvP tournament today. They actually called out. It was during the Dusty one, because one of the clerics was DPSing when one of the people died, and they're like, "That cleric's up there in the front DPSing," and I'm like, I would have been. I don't know what's wrong with this. Like, if I'm putting out DPS, yes, I might lose a DPS, but we're gonna get one of theirs. Like that. That's the kind of way I look at it. Like I measure how much we've lost, and then like I determine if I need to heal them. And so I saw this talent tree, and I became like huge fan of it because I'm gonna get rid of all my long solo healing focus things. I'm gonna have my flash cure, my soothing glow, my silence for offense. Like I'm gonna have all of my tiny little heals that I want to specialize, and I'm gonna have all of my control DPS, like bless weapon, chains, like condemn. I'm gonna have all of those maxed out. And so like you're going to see that I'm a cleric, but I'm going to be much different than all the other clerics you see, because like they're going to be going in different directions. And I absolutely look forward to this. And I think this, like I've heard this from Vladis a lot, where he is worried with only having one heal class. There's not enough variety in it. I think this right here allows for you to have off specs that then people that have specializations. So you're gonna have people that are gonna be raid heal focused, AoE focused. You're gonna have people that are main tank focused. You're gonna have people that are a PvP minded. They're gonna have the wings of salvation and their heals, and then you're gonna have people like me that just do damage, and they're gonna be completely different. And so this is gonna give that variety for at least the clerics. And I can't wait to see what they do for all the other classes, because I think this is exactly where we want people to kind of have that choice and stuff. I'm really curious about Summoner coming in as well, because that actually, the way they said that a Summoner can be a tank while you like looking for a group for a tank. And so like I'm really curious to see how all of those kind of things play into this. And so I want to see these skill trees for all of the other classes.
Me too. Now, Vertec, you have had some frustrations, and there was actually another streamer that's a newer streamer, and he mainly plays tank, and he has frustrations with tanking and Ashes. So how do you feel about these potential changes coming to the skill tree?
I'm gonna love it. Just a little bit more variety on what we can do, a little bit more being able to specialize, a little bit more like, because let's be honest. There's probably 3 skills I change out between PvP and PvE, but usually I just sit somewhere in a hybrid and I change one skill, and that's wall because it's useless in PvE.
Yeah.
And I'll switch that out for I forget exactly what, but I'll do something else in PvE instead. Just because wall it doesn't do anything for PvE, they just around it and ignore the fact that it exists. But even then, sometimes I'll just keep it because I never know when a PvP person is going to come in and attack and or just be a menace to the group. So if I see somebody trying to train a bunch of mobs, I'll drop a wall in their way as the mobs are chasing them. If I can catch them in time, then they're going to get eaten behind on the other side of the wall because he doesn't cross the wall, therefore the mobs won't. So a little bit of a troll training breaks, shall we say, but and being able to just actually make more meaningful contributions to the skill tree where there are actual decisions to make. Like, do I only want to go the first tier of this skill because all I care about is the fact that when I ding somebody with the lower thing, it's gonna put a debuff on them or it's gonna trip them. I don't care about getting extra damage or a longer trip or a longer whatever. I just need that tier 1 bump. And then this other one though, heck yeah, if I take it all the way up, it's gonna get me an extra like 2 seconds of whatever time, like them being dizzy, like whatever the case is. Like that'll be fantastic.
I will say, Vertec, you missed out on the pit because the tank had such value with the pit. I don't know if you guys even know what I'm talking about. I actually showed up in the Ashes moments because I pulled Hoofsy into the pit with a chain, and then somebody came and bonked me off into the pit, and I pulled them too.
Oh my god!
And so like there was a mistake in New Ayla where you could tell a dev just accidentally misclicked, and they put this like really deep hole into the middle of the road. It still shows up on the map in New Ayla, and so like I saw this and I'm like, oh man, this is glorious. We can like this. The problem was it was at the end of phase 2, and so there wasn't enough foot traffic on it, and so I had to try and encourage people to come to the pit. Arena testing. That would testing. They needed the pit for the tournament. I think just like a straight.
That's funny.
Battle royale in the middle of that.
There's just like this like random pit in the middle of nowhere that everybody brings their like fights to.
Yes. Which I actually going back to the PvP tournament, that's actually one thing I loved about the PvP tournament is that it's not just in a wide open area. That there was so much differentiation between where people chose to fight at. Some people would take the high ground, some people would use the pillars, some people and utilizing choke points and stuff. I actually thought we were going to do really well on our very first fight because I noticed they were running themselves through a choke point, and so I threw out my chains, and then they just like bursted straight past and into our group, and I'm like, well, shit. Like I thought this was a choke point that was going to be good, and that did not turn out that way. And so first fight not last that long, but it was a really interesting setup to be able to watch some of those plays. This also plays into the part with Dusty's group. There was a part where they had pulled and they put 2 of their ranger vines out. And I as soon as I saw that, I'm like, well, this fight's over because they position in such a way that this guy is all the way in their back line. Their entire team's gonna have to run through these vines. And I'm like, that was just such a good setup. And so it was a really interesting, the way to see how different locations and choke points and the use of like line of sight was actually used within the tournament.
Yeah. And real quick, just for me to be able to also give my thoughts on the skill trees, and for anybody who missed it. So this was a Steven link for the live stream. They weren't intending on talking about this, but this is Bucky's rework to the cleric skill tree. And there are major reworks underway for the start of phase 3. And the intent is to have the major rework for each of the skill trees for like all of the classes. So it includes 3 ranks per active ability, provides depth, provides additional depth to passives, additional cost to the trees, as well as universal specs. So if you want primary attribute increases or waterfall stat increases, those are options. And I think going back to everything, like that is a huge piece, because we had chatted so many times over the last 2 years, specifically thinking of when, Vladis first got into the scene in 2021 and started talking a lot about skill trees and that being his forte. We would often say, well, your secondary archetype would be the flavor to your class. And he was like, I don't like that decision. I don't like that opinion, because that means that everybody from 1 to 25 is going to essentially feel the same. Where's the diversity in your build? I think this is the answer. I think this is the answer to that diversity. And I think that the biggest part with this is there's a lot more player choice. Vertec and I have mentioned so many times where there's situations where I'm going through the skill tree and there's not really anything that I feel like I'm missing out on. Like there's no real decisions. But then listening to the roundtable from Vladis on the rogues, they have a lot more decisions behind what they're going to do. Do I want more poisons? Do I want the ability to use my utility skills twice? Do I want this? Do I want that? There's a lot more like thought process behind everything. Whereas by the time I finish building out my cleric tree, it's like, do I want this side benefit or that side benefit? Like, which one's the one that I kind of want to go for now? And I feel like this will give not only, like you mentioned, Pawkets, the difference in like, AoE heals or, raid-wide heals. Are you going to be the Holy Priest? Are you going to be the Druid heals? Are you going to be the Shaman heals? Which type of playstyle are you taking with this?
Even on that, you can be more of like the pure healer or the pure support, and so like that kind of stuff. And in all honesty, I actually put 2 of my skill points in today before the tournament. Because I didn't even put in my last talents for the last 2 levels of my character. And so like I was like, and like that's how much they did not matter to me. In the ones that I wanted, I got the ones I wanted, and I don't need anything else. And so like, I definitely feel that about cleric right now.
That's kind of another thing about tank also, is that there's not really a lot of like dependencies and synergies between the skills. There's a couple things you pretty much just have to use together to really make either one like truly effective. But yeah, there's not a lot of synergy, and I say that from when the time to kill was really bananas, and I as a tank focusing on defensive mitigations and health, and I would still get burned down in less than like 3.5 seconds by a mage. I was like, I'm just gonna hang up the tank. I'm gonna try Bard, and there's so many synergies between the skills. Like you don't even have to use them together, but it feels good to use them together, and one depends on another, so you have to keep using one, and you can use some other skills in different sequences that'll totally change how another one has actually popped out there, and that feels really good, and I'd love something like that with tank.
I am really glad you went down that way, and if you could do me the favor of highlighting the Duffel's comment earlier. The Duffel says, what's your guys' thoughts on the ability or lack thereof to change your build on the fly? Now, for those of you that are having just joined us for Phase 2, 2.5, Alpha 2 by itself, you may or may not be aware that it's not intended for you just to be able to undo your talents willy-nilly anywhere in the world and redo them. No, actually, the intent will be that you need to go back to a major city, into a safe space, and then be able to reallocate your skills, and even more so with the secondary archetypes. So with that being said, and that kind of preface there, Pawkets, what is your thoughts? Because I feel like a lot of us are getting so used to being able to like willy-nilly just, I don't want this, I want this, I don't want that, I want this, like on the fly.
I'm definitely going to miss it. We are spoiled right now for sure. And I hope that it's the case. And I hope that it's more than just pure gold. in World of Warcraft, I was our guild was very big into PvE, but I loved to PvP, and so like I was a feral druid, and so our guild required us to have BIS talents, and so I could not have my PvP talents and go to raid. I had to switch back, and there were some days I was even pushing rank, and so in between both of the raid nights I had to switch back and forth, and so it would cost me somewhere between like 200 and 300 gold every week just for me to play the way like. And so I like the idea of going to a safe space to be able to do it, but I actually want to Sugar Daddy Steven spoils us too much with convenience. Very, very interesting comment. But I actually want them to get rid of the safe spaces in cities again. I want them to go back to the wild, wild west and not have these guards that are going to kill you. I miss the guild fights within the urban scenario. So I want you to be able to go back to a town to do it, but I don't want that town to be a safe space necessarily. So,
oh man,
yeah. Okay, Vertec.
Oh man, you're killing me. You're killing me. Some people are just destined to want to watch the world burn. Make sure that there's no PvE players in existence.
It's not true. It's not true.
Well, no, it's because like even looking at it from like an RP point of view, right? Like I pay my taxes. Why isn't the city protecting me?
So I'm okay with that. If the mayor chooses to have guard defense, then I'm okay with it. If the mayor chooses not to, what I actually really want to see is once a node gets to a metropolis level, a guild that has a squabble with another guild, running through building to building, down the streets, clearing, like, and this was so much fun. Like the in-town fights that we had were some of my favorite. Yes, there's some that happen in the open world, but like, and even like, for instance, let's say that a guild is able to actually pay off the guards and be like, from this time to this time, we're paying off the guards to not attack us. And then they guild deck on a guild, like that sort of thing would be really interesting to kind of see. It adds wilting to it. But I like the urban combat, and I feel that the over control and like keeping it from happening in towns. I understand why, and I was a crafter, I was a processor. I lost some of my stuff. My buddies they lost some braidwood and willow, and I understand the reason why they put it in. I just need it to have a reason and a purpose. So I don't want them to be blanket guards in every town. I actually want there to be choices of safe space instead of guaranteed safe space.
See, here's the thing. I feel like there should be different layers. Like I want both. Like, ¿por qué no las dos? Why not both, right? So like, why can't we have the guilds be able to fight each other in the node? You know, running around willy-nilly from building to building. Oh my gosh, what's going on? Suspect is fighting Axiom. I don't know, I'm just grabbing two random like guilds, you know, and like they're both in Halcyon fighting like from like building to building. Meanwhile, the rest of us are just going about our day because we're unaffected, but you know, you guys are having fun, and the guards aren't killing you because it's a consensual guild war at that point, right? But my biggest problem at the moment, and I think that there's something that Intrepid could do, is like, I don't think you should be able to call a node war from inside the opposing node. Like the fact that somebody from, I don't know, Shorefoot could be in Eithnar on top of the building and then immediately invoke a Shorefoot versus Eithnar node war.
Meanwhile, that means 79 rogues are on top of a rooftop. Not rogues, but rangers are on top of a rooftop, camouflaged, aiming some kill shots.
Yeah. That is something that I don't like the feeling of, because like you have all of the intent on doing a fight against their node without them knowing necessarily. And I mean, one would argue like that's the nature of war. Like one person can sneak attack the other person. But again, in terms of like the people that maybe aren't high enough level and are immediately like being murdered, for lack of a better word, because the node war started and they didn't know that it was starting. And now you have like maybe 80 to 100 people stacked up for one side when the other side wasn't even ready to start fighting.
Yeah, and to be honest, like with a lot of these things, even with the guards in town, like I could be down for requiring mayors to spend points in there, but at the same time,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
we got to keep in mind that this is an MMORPG and not a survival multiplayer game. It's not like a 4-player survival where everything matters and you could die at any moment. Like the MMO audience is old, man. I'm not sure if you know this or not. I mean, you're a youngin' yourself. I see you haven't gotten any gray in your beard yet, so.
Are you kidding me?
Wow.
The MMO audience is getting older, man. They got families, they got things. Like there should definitely be like
Cheers,
a safe haven,
Duffels.
like in town. Like I'm doing things in town. I need to walk away and check on, the brat who's making noise in the other room, or the dog knocked over or whatever, and not have to worry about, oh shoot, I have to log out even though I'm in town doing silly stuff next to a stall.
Our main carpenter in our guild, and he's a good friend of mine. I've been playing with him for 5-6 years at this point. He logged in and we were in the middle of a guild war, and like he didn't check in Discord first. He's a dad gamer. He has kids, like he's the old guy that you're talking about. And he logged in and died right by the lumber milling area. And he's like, what? Oh, we're in a guild war. Oh no. And he started going off in guild chat. And then he ran into town again. And I'm like, bro, like, no. This is on you. This is your fault. You have to like,
Yes.
the game is not the game that we played for World of Warcraft and stuff like that. Oh, doubles.
Thank you so much, Duffels. Much appreciated. Give
doing one for
ahoy.
each.
One for each.
You guys keep talking.
Also,
don't mind me.
Doubles.
Break out the good old potion of fireball.
You hit 1.5 suspect people with that.
One.
I'd say one. Druther is a suspect person, and Triple had said that he's interested. So that's why I'm saying 1.5. So.
Well, interested might be a nice way of saying no. So that's
It
like
might
1.25. 1.25.
Yes.
That's
1.25.
Right.
There we go.
Huzzah.
But yeah, that's my only thoughts of caution on like tossing in like hardcore features. Is that's going to appeal to like the hardcore PvP crowd, but pretty much everyone else it's going to be a big turnoff.
I would also be okay with guards protecting citizens, but when it's a guild war, that's different, right?
Yeah. That's why I'm like,
That's what
I
you were
think
saying.
that would be great. I would love to see that because like that's a fun, chaotic moment. Like,
Or actually, I think
why are
even
those
guild
two
wars,
people skirmishing?
guild wars, they should still be protected. I think maybe node wars, maybe they get tapped out or something.
A little bit of the problem with the protected and the guild wars is like the guards will murder you. So like if you're trying to have fun and fight, like imagine just trying to have like PvP tag. I think that's a type of game, right? Where like you have a person who's kind of like it and he has to like run around, find other people and like hit them or whatever. It's kind of like playing chase in a manner, but like imagine like hiding in buildings and dodging around things, but because you're flagged, because you're in a PvP like skirmish or whatever, now the guard is killing you. Like that's just that kills it a little bit too much, and especially when it's just specifically between those two. Like I think that would be fine. It's just more protection for the people that are in the node that are unsuspecting, because ideally if you're going to be in a guild war, like that's something that like you have to be prepared for in general. Just, it's going to be kind of expected in Ashes to keep your stuff in your storage as much as possible.
See, the tricky part,
before you log out, you put it away.
The tricky thing to really think about though is how long does a guild war last? And how long does that completely bar people who are dedicated to crafting from playing the game, like at all? Because they can't even hang out in town and craft now. And crafting is supposed to be the backbone of the game, right? So now crafters can't even play while there's a guild war.
I dropped my Winstead citizenship in phase 2 when that town started to get war decked on all the time, because I could no longer be a citizen. The amount of storage I got was no longer worth because of the amount of war decks that they were getting. But I will also say that one of the reasons why I had the stance that I have, we were like, Suspect is a mid-sized guild, and we had decided one day that we were going to team up with another guild, and we were going to pick one of these bigger guilds that tend to get on our nerves, right? And we were going to team up, and so like, this is the idea to help fight the Zerg, right? Where you can war deck on a guild, and like you can kind of like team up and be able to manage your stuff within, like, because like reputation of your guild matters and stuff like that, and because you can't put 500 people in a single guild. When you attack a guild, you're not going to get 500 people hitting you back.
Right.
And this was right about the time where they changed the system where you can't sit outside of the event and heal. You have to flag up to heal them. And so for us to heal the other guild that we were teaming up with, we had to flag PvP, but then they were running into the town and getting into the guards, and the guards were one-shotting us. And so like we were trying to have like, that was where like Intrepid wants to find a point where they kind of step back and allow the players to decide what the rules are within the game, but then the guards attacking us and hitting our healers like kind of like deterred that and kind of like forced us into a box on it. And so that's kind of like where I stand in it. But yeah, I realize that we're off on a complete tangent from our.
No, you're fine. You're fine. This is actually kind of related, because the last part I wanted to talk about was economy, and I think that this is PvP's effect on economy, if you will. This is, directly like how going into a war with a node causes issues with crafting and things like that. And I think that like that's an important thing, and that's a big thing that they're working to overhaul for phase 3 is the economy system. So I think like thinking about, what's the pitfalls of the economy system right now, and especially coming from the fact that it's a PvX game, meaning that PvP affects economy, artisanship should affect economy, and not crafting, but PvE should affect economy, like the drops from the bosses and the mobs and things like that. So like, this is multifaceted in a way that I haven't played a game that's like this in terms of the economy being affected. So this is all important to me. And real quick, I see Vertec and Grumpy Guy disagree with me. And I'm very curious. I want to hear your thoughts. Like, why should you have to fight outside of the node, outside of the town, if you're in a node, in a guild war?
In a guild war, so think about it. If you have a town, right? This is your town. You're the mayor, you're the guard, you're the whatever. This is a peaceful time. There's nothing going on, and somebody is just running through town, murdering people. That's a crime. The guard should stop the crime. Now, if a war is declared or a siege is declared, that's totally different. The guards are probably tending to wounded, shoring up defenses, doing whatever. So yeah, disable them on the insta-kill, chasing after people fighting in town at that time, because the node is not a safe place. It is at war.
Yeah.
But for a guild war, no, you're just random people running through town like slaying each other. There is no call for that. Law needs to be enforced.
I don't mean to laugh. Like, I see it from both sides the way you put it. I'm seeing the role play perspective of the game, but I'm also like, but the chaos, man.
But the chaos.
Give it to me.
Thinking from the RP perspective, imagine the guard. The guard's like if somebody kill him, he's like, oh wait, no, that's just a guild.
Yeah, they have to pull out their cheat sheet.
No, I'll leave it alone.
Yeah, they got to pull out their cheat sheet for the two guilds that are from like 190 miles away and be like, nope, we just got letter 5 minutes ago that who are these guilds? Either way, the guilds are fighting each other, so we'll let the rascals be. They're fine. Meanwhile, like cows and chickens are being stepped on the entire time.
imagining it from like a
citizen
role
guard.
play perspective. We're just like hanging out in the tavern, like I'm just there doing my alchemy thing, Vertex cooking, and then suddenly somebody bursts through the door. They're fighting. My tables get broken, and I'm like, oh, no,
I'm just gonna continue
somebody
scrambling
help
my
me. And
eggs.
the guard's
That's
like,
fine.
oh, I can't help you with that.
Yeah, can't help you with
So
that.
this is going to happen to you guys because there will be fighting that happens on a freehold.
Yeah,
If it can't happen in the town, it's going to happen.
it'll
in your
probably
freehold.
happen on a freehold. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's no guards on the freehold, so
There's no
Yeah,
guards
that's-
on the freehold.
That's actually kind of a gripe that I had also with the freehold. The announced part of the freehold system is you can't eject somebody from your place of business. You spent
Freehold
a lot
and
of time and
PC.
money getting that thing and getting
Hire a
it put
guard.
together and trying to make it build a reputation. And if somebody's in there always causing trouble, you can't block them from entering your place of business. That's kind of weird.
I feel like this wraps around to what we started off this conversation with, because what if there's a hooligan that's in your PvP tournament that you're hosting in your,
Mhm.
and you don't have the power to be able to adjust that,
Yeah.
All right, so you know what the solution for that is? You pay money to hire an arena. You rent out a coliseum, and you need to collect the money for that, and you pay money as a business transaction to protect that coliseum for your PvP arena bout,
Mhm.
your tournament.
Yeah.
That's it. You
Yeah.
have to pay money to get that to happen.
But the
It's not
freehold,
just like
you still have the issue with your freeholds because you can't eject people from
yeah, but see
Yeah.
that would be if we could eject people from our place of business on the freehold. Like we have our house and our place of business. Like go
Yeah.
hang out in the yard. I don't care. Get the out of my tavern.
Go fight in the yard.
Like the tavern,
Yeah.
the tavern's gonna have well, in theory, like who knows if they're gonna put it in, but it's gonna have like the open voice chat and all this and that and games to play and
Yeah.
whatnot. Do you think people are gonna want to come around a tavern that always has legitimate fighting in there? No, it's my place
Yeah.
of business, man. Let me protect it. Let me lock people out of it. Kick them outside.
but-
You can go kick rocks like in my chicken coop, whatever.
I believe that establishment's going to be the Hidden Dagger Inn. I
Yeah.
think that's Peon's
You're at the
area. You go
wrong
there for the
place.
fighting.
Yeah,
Please
yeah.
go to the Hidden Dagger Inn. This is the wrong establishment. Sir, this is the Wendy's.
Yeah, especially if we're trying to establish, like a neutral territory. Like, doesn't matter what your guild affiliations are. Doesn't matter what
Mhm.
node you're from. Like, you don't fight here. Hopefully, everybody who comes in is going to sign that social agreement with us, so that if you start a problem, no matter who you are, even if you're one of our guildies, you get your ass kicked by everybody else. You get booted right out because
We
you
actually
started the
saw
problem.
that in the PvP tournament today. There was a lot of bystanders that were flagging up and trying to it still was interference, but it was
It became minimally so.
Yes,
Yeah.
Hello, Mr. Noobtastic.
very
Actually,
interesting day.
yeah. It was very interesting to watch, especially for somebody who doesn't do PvP. But
Mhm.
Duffel says, regarding the war, it makes no sense to me that someone from the opposing node is sitting at the marketplace selling stuff while they're at war. Like, when I first thought about the wars, I thought about for the Horde and for the Alliance achievements and wow, and how much fun those were. Yeah, absolutely. Like, if you are going into a war with somebody else's node, you shouldn't have any ability to access any of their NPCs or any of that. Like, that should be shut off from you. You are literally my enemy at this point. We have declared war against each other. Same with sieges, I think.
I fully agree with that because I was so upset when Winstead was being attacked. Like, we got war decked on and I was defending within my own node. I was a citizen of Winstead and then my own guards were killing me. And I'm like, bro, like, this is your job that I'm trying to do here. And so I fully agree with that. Like, if you declare war on somebody, you should not expect to be able to utilize their business, like their auction house, their bank, like everything should be shut off. Those guards should be read to you. That's what I think. So
Yeah, I agree. And Fupa says, is it really something that makes sense to be able to attack someone on their freehold? You cannot destroy the crops or things they are doing. What real PvP worth does it bring?
It falls under Steven's blanket statement of wanting people to contest things and have soft points of friction everywhere. Is really the only worth it brings, is it causes those things to happen.
My main concern with that is too much of something devalues it. So if there's soft friction everywhere, there's no meaningful friction anywhere.
Yeah. I mean, it is FUPO, because when you think about it, that's somebody trying to do business, and you can destroy somebody's business by going there and causing problems all the time. And now they're not profitable because nobody goes there because they don't know if they're going to get attacked. They don't have a safe spot to go to, pick up their tavern wares because it's not safe, or to go do whatever the other businesses are going to end up being. And that's where it comes into the I'm powerless. What am I going to do? Hire people to hang out there all the time?
Yeah.
Well, now I don't make any money, because it's got to give them enough profit to be worthwhile them standing there, right? They're not going to stand there for 10 coppers an hour.
That being said,
So-
one of the biggest things that I heard recently was, I think maybe this was from your stream, Pockets, or maybe I was just chatting with Lloyd about it. Like, right now, nobody has any arenas to do that really like to do PvP. There's nowhere for the PvPers to go and vent their PvP, like, not really like desires or like frustration, but like that's the type of content they want to do. And so there's not really anywhere beneficial to everybody for them to go and do that at the moment. There's no arenas, and like a lot of the wars are kind of in a weird situation at the moment. Wow. But one of the things that I had seen was, that I forgot where I was going with this. Sorry, I got distracted by chat.
Distraction.
But in general, like the fact that people, stood up and decided to protect the tournament trying to go on today, and probably tomorrow as well, it shows that the community does care about these things. The community does want to see these types of things happening. And if the developers won't build it, then if the community wants it strongly enough, they will step up to the plate and they will enforce it to work. And the problem is that only goes for so long, I mean, obviously, I think it was Grumpy that said it. That's what I was going to say. There shouldn't always be node wars. Yeah, node wars need to be hard to do. So it's rare over common. And then therefore it's a lot more meaningful of a situation, rather than like, I got this like node war now, and then tomorrow at noon I have another node war that I'm planning, and another thing here, and oh my lord.
Oh man, got more. All right.
Thank you.
Breaking out the potion of fireball.
Cheers.
So this actually happened in phase 2. We got war decked on by a guild, and like that 2 hours we rallied, we had our whole guild show up, and we were competing. And then the very next day they war decked us again, and we're like, nah, how long till we can assert, because we're like, bro, we fought you yesterday, we're not gonna fight you again. Like that was an investment of our time. We didn't mind doing it, we enjoyed doing it, but like we're not gonna do that every single day. And one of the, Zyback had a YouTube video where he talked about, because the PvP zones were been taken out, there's no place for the PvPers to go. I actually disagree with this, and I am against everybody on this topic for as long as I've had it. I actually like the corruption system as it is, and I don't think that it's too tough. I think that you as a player have got to be more logical about how to PvP. And it's not always, I just murk the other guy. Sometimes it is, I need to frustrate the other guy to a point where they either fight me or they go away, right? And so like, I love this game right now as it is, for as intense and purposeful as the PvP is. And it's not a game for what I call the PvP mouth breathers. It's not a place where you can just go PvP and murk anybody anytime you want. You have to be logical about it. And like my point was with that caravan that I was talking about earlier, if you are destroying every 200k caravan you see, you are destroying an entire system. Like nobody's going to run caravans because even the small fish have not been let go. And so you're actually destroying your own content because you're a PvP mouth breather. And so like a lot of people don't understand this. Like even like 400k caravans, I let them go. Like they're like, I guess right now it's actually big fish effectively, but like I haven't ran a single caravan in 2.5. I had 30 golden. I know Vertex stands on caravans. I had 30 golden glint, and for this PvP event, I actually just went and vendored it all because I'm like, I'm not going to use it for anything else. I need gear, and so I'm just going to sell it and get gear. And so
come phase 3, I'll probably jump back into caravans, give them a go again.
Yeah, give it another go.
But I don't know what it is. There's something about my account that just absolutely takes caravans and throws them in the trash.
Yeah,
I know that with 2.5, we did a lot of early morning caravans because people don't want to PvP you at 7 in the morning. It seems safer. But if you're doing that on 2.5, you have EU people in the prime of their night, looking to go PvP people, and I'm like, nope, never mind. I'm not even gonna try it at this go. So
yeah, see what you're saying is something I've agreed with for a long time. Like I think the corruption system is just fine where it is, because I got in a big discussion about this with a couple people over a couple different posts on Reddit, and they're like, yeah, corruption system's trash. It's too
your mistake.
Whatever.
You're on Reddit.
Because well, I mean, sometimes you can get some decent conversations. But yeah, absolutely. Honestly, you could say that. Insert anything. As far as social media, anything social media, and that's your problem. Legendary. But the one point that they were making, or they made a couple different points, but the one that's sticking in mind is, well, what do you do when somebody's training mobs on you? So, well, it's simple. You don't attack the mobs, and they won't attack you.
Not always, actually. Like there was at least one part.
Heal aggro.
Sorry.
Heal aggro.
No. There was just one part where like the person would run away from their like view, and they would start training back, but then they would see like me or my group, and then they would start attacking me, and I didn't even like attack the mob or anything.
Their view. Like that's the thing. You play the cleric stuff and the heals and whatnot. You did something that healed, and that got a little bit aggro.
Oh wait, do you think bless does that too? Like if I'm giving myself bless, is that potentially
quite possibly? I mean, it's a beneficial spell.
Like thinking about like WoW, the life bloom would do that sort of thing. It's an effect that's going off. Like and bards would have it happen as well.
Okay.
And so and like I like what Steven has said on this, that it's not against TOS, but it will be changed. They are going to try and do stuff on their part to actually make this so that those mobs stay with that guy instead of us. But like this is where like, and we've had this happen several times, and I absolutely love it. Like I love when this happens because I play my off healer that I play. I'm already DPSing half the time and only healing half the time. And so if you train extra mobs on us, I just heal. And then we're all good, and you just leashed more mobs to us, and okay, no big deal. And like if I notice that a guy's doing this shady kind of stuff, I'm like, hey, take it down a notch. Let's not pull 10. Let's only pull 8. And just keep an eye on this guy, and like we mark him and stuff like that. And honestly, I have had no issues with this.
So you got the right idea, and that's exactly what I was trying to impart upon this person. Like you can't just jump directly to kill the other person is the solution to every problem. Like I was saying, like when I see somebody training mobs, I'll try to drop a wall in front of them. They can't run any further. The mobs catch them, they die, and the mobs turn around and run away. The end.
Here's one thing I also want to add out there. Like, yes, there is training mobs, but then there's also, oh fuck, we're roaching and the mobs are on us, and we're in Carfin and the mobs are running down the stairs and out the front because we jumped out the window. Like, like that isn't trying to trade it on other people. That's just us trying to survive and get out of there, so like I feel like hold on, I feel like there's a big difference, because sometimes people will see a group doing that and think that they're getting trained on, but you can tell when a group is actually trying to train on you, because they will grab them and then try to directly run them through your AoEs on purpose multiple times to try and kill you, versus if you're seeing a whole entire group of people running for their lives and dying on the way out.
Yeah, there's a difference, and that just
Oh.
that boils down to you just paying attention to your surroundings and what's going on around them.
Yeah.
And also like just realizing that you can legitimately just step out of the way most of the time, stop healing as much as you possibly can, and see if the mobs just run past you.
Yeah, exactly. Pawkets?
I had one of the most interesting stories. I got done with my normal Saturday morning stream, and I raided out to Porcini's Mushroom. He's the lead of Fungi Fellowship, and I'm like, the mushroom people, they're always so happy, they're always so chill, like no big like they're good people and everything like this. And I go to eat lunch, and I come back, and I hop into Discord, and the guild goes, we're in war, come get in the PvP. And I'm like, okay, who are we fighting? You know, and they go, Porcini or Fungi Fellowship. And I'm like, what? Like I just left everybody with him, you know, like, where did this come from? And apparently we had a guild that was in the bottom of Ursine Caves, and they were missing one of their person, and they knew that they were having issues down in the bottom of the cave. And so this guy just ran, he's like, hey, they're dying down there, I need to get to them. And so he just beelines it down, and they felt that he intentionally trained on them. And so like it started like a whole guild war and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah.
So yes, like I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm like, this person trained on me. I'm like, that person doesn't train on people. Like that doesn't make sense. So it was a really funny story.
I will say with the corruption baiting type stuff, the one thing I would agree on is the purple flag needs to stay on a little bit longer. Some people are saying like 10 or 15 minutes or 5 or 10 minutes, and I think that might be a little excessive. But I mean, a little bit longer, like double the length on it right now, and double the length of the white purple flash on the name, like something like that. The purple flag could stay longer, because where does it normally come from? It normally comes from somebody just trying to throw a skill at you to get you nuked by the mobs, and or picking up a death pile from somebody. Like the kind of shitty situations.
Death pile for me.
Yeah.
Apparently also that was falling off in the middle of PvP.
It does, it does. And that's the other thing about it, is it needs to be refreshed if you're actively in PvP. Like, sorry, you got caught. You don't get to lose your flag right now.
If I'm in PvP, but there's also like the other side of that. Like, imagine I was trying to back you up in PvP, and for whatever reason it fell off of me. Now I can't heal you unless I have the proper settings turned on. But now I can't heal you because I'm not flagged to be in PvP anymore. And like, that's a different problem. You know, like I think that
same solution though, at least is if you refresh your PvP activity by healing somebody that is flagged while you're flagged, it'll keep you flagged.
You should be able to stay flagged. Yeah, exactly. Like, so, if I don't want to be flagged, absolutely let me not engage in PvP.
Hide behind a tree, hide behind a rock, like
exactly
whatever.
This is actually even more crucial for clerics, because let's say the rogue steals a pile, right? And the cleric flags up to heal the rogue. The rogue has not done PvP action for like a minute and 30 seconds, but the clerics have been healing that and refreshing their PvP action. And so the cleric has 2 minutes from when they stopped healing that PvP action player. And so your most vulnerable is your cleric during that time. Which is why, like, I tell people very clearly, like, unless I'm willing to fight at that time, I'm like, hey, don't take damage for 2 minutes. You're on your own, bro. like,
and that's the perfect approach right there.
You did your action. Like, I'm not gonna put my because like by risk, like when if you have a cleric that does this, it's fine. Make sure you have another cleric that doesn't, right?
Yeah.
Because you're actually like even if they're buddy, even they're guilty and things like that, you are putting them at risk. Now we actually have a like a unwritten rule in our guild that when you flag up, everybody needs to be on the same page and everybody flags up. That way you kind of solve this issue of like there's no lone warrior, lone soldier going out, you know, and doing things like this. So like you need to make sure you're on the same team, same page.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely. I agree.
Exactly. I think that's a great approach, to be honest. Like, if nothing else, even if you have somebody who's not going to flag, at least knowing ahead of time, like, this person's not going to flag with us. They're going to roach to the back of the pile and hide behind a rock and just watch what's happening. Like, but we know this ahead of time. We can plan for it. But everyone else, like, one flags, we all flag. But yeah, the whole like communication with the group saying, hey, I'm your healer, and if I heal you, I'm gonna get flagged or I'm gonna remain flagged. We need to chill the F out. If you can't handle it on your own, don't do it, because I'm not healing you.
This goes back to I have a story that happened where, and it kind of goes back to what I was talking about with this game, with the PvP is much more mental and logical than just PvP. And it actually comes from my time playing League of Legends, which is really odd. But there's a phrase in high level League of Legends play that is, you must play the objective. League of Legends is not a PvP game. It is a PvX game. They've never advertised as a PvX game, but that's what it is. Because sometimes the bigger priority, rather than killing that other player, is to get the dragon, is to, you know, like, and so you have to figure out what your objective is. There was a point where we knew that there was a legendary, I think it was Braidwood spawn, and another guild showed up to that exact same tree. And we were like we showed up with like 7 people, and they showed up with like 7 people, and they're like, I think these people know what this tree is because they brought their people too, right? And during this time, they had flagged up several times, and it was a pretty even fight, but the objective was the Braidwood tree. And so like I said ahead of time, I'm like, hey, I'm going to chop this thing. I am not flagging up PvP. You are free to do that, but like you're actually going to put us at a disadvantage. And so the objective is this tree. Well, they kept flagging up purple, and eventually we found out the tree wasn't going to spawn again. And so the other team started to scatter and stuff like that, but they had their cleric that was still flagged purple, and we still had our 7 people, and we're like, so there's no tree, there's no objective. You guys good with just murking this cleric because he's an asshole? And we're like, yeah, sure. And we're like, all right, flagging 3, 2, 1, flagged, and just nuked him, right? And he stayed purple. He was there still attacking people, and I'm like, hey, I'm sorry. Like, the objective changed. It now became a much more easier objective for us that we're not going to have to fight over this tree. And so it's really interesting how the objective is your priority in this game. And so thinking about how you can best hit that objective is what I love about it. So yeah.
Well, I think that we've covered a lot of really interesting stuff. I actually have a couple of announcements, rather like vague announcement, I'm gonna be honest, but it's still an announcement. I know you know what I'm about to say. Before I get to the bigger of the two, one, I'm gonna start doing some subscriber only streams. So thank you for all of the gifted subs, because you guys will be able to have access to those subscriber only streams. They'll be on Sunday, very specific Sundays. I have it listed out in the subscriber section of our Discord, but they are more likely to change, but they will be things that will be live only for you guys to see, and they will remain live only for you guys to see. And oh my gosh, huzzah. Here's real quick.
Huzzah,
thank you.
All right.
I'm gonna finish my vague announcement, and then I'll do the bigger potion thing after. But the vague announcement is, you guys have been asking. We are finally doing another one. We're doing our first 2025 unofficial content creator summit at the end of the month, but I'm not going to tell you what date and who is involved yet. And that is my vague part. The announcement will come soon. We have been planning. We've been trying to get it. We were wanting to do it in April. That didn't work out. May didn't work out because apparently May is wedding season month. And when I was trying to choose a different date, other people were like gone for their friends' weddings, and then I was gone for my friend's wedding. So like it just didn't work out for May. So we are gonna have our first summit of 2025, and I'm very excited to have it. Cannot wait to announce who's involved. I'm sure you have your speculations, but yeah, so keep an eye out for that. and we'll be probably having an announcement officially on Tuesday with who's involved and what the specific date is. But yeah, we're excited. We're gonna have 2 more before the end of the year. So let us know what you're thinking. I'm thinking maybe having a PvP summit and an artisanship summit this year as 2 of the remaining summit topics. But let me know what you think. Let me know if there's anything that you want to see covered in a summit. But bigger cheers now, and I will let you guys take over anything that you might want to say. Huzzah!
Hoo-ha. Well, first off to say thank you, Hoovesy. Much appreciated. Legendary. Don't die.
Spicy fireball. Cheers to that.
Oh my goodness.
I guess the other thing I would say is I'm getting smaller segments of these podcasts up again. I actually already put one up, if it's okay to like drop it in the chat. But it was funny because I think Pawkets, you get highlighted in this for your excitement over the XP changes for the artisan when you chop down I think it was like a willow or something, or an oak, and it gave you extra XP. So
really, I'll have to watch it.
You were like,
we were talking a little bit about it.
Yeah.
About being able to level your adventuring class a little bit more by doing crafting or artisan stuff.
So I actually did not want to hit level 25. I didn't want to find another pug to get like the last 10% of my level 25. So I went and chopped trees and processed trees for 10% of level 25. And I'm like,
nice.
So like 73 hours?
Hey, that doesn't matter, but like I do like the changes. I would rather spend 3 hours chopping trees and processing trees than going to find another steel bloom pug. So
I mean, that's fair. That's fair.
Fair.
But yeah. I think the only thing, like, because I know the thing that I'd mentioned in there was that I like the idea of alternate leveling paths. So being able to level up to max level with artisan skills is fantastic. Like it being a legitimate way to do it, but as long as they don't make it too strong, you know, because you're not going out to the danger.
When Steven had said you can't, like he said it to Diggs. I knew, like I don't remember which thing, but he said it to Diggs. He's like, "Oh, you can do it by that." And then I got into Alpha 2, and I'm like, "Bro, you can't level by this. This is way too harsh." But I will tell you that Grumpy Guy got up to like level 20 in phase 1 from chopping trees, and so he proved it wrong. But I don't have the sanity to do that. So
well, that's just like when Steven said that anybody who puts in the effort can have a freehold, and we got excited. And it's like, well, actually, anybody who puts in the effort in a certain amount of time with a certain amount of money can get a freehold.
Are you talking about
so limited
the current freehold state, or
for any freehold? This is back when they first started really doing the announcements on freeholds, like what to do to get them, etc.
The way he first announced them, it sounded like it was going to be a lot easier to get them, and then when they actually divulged more information on how exactly you get one, then we were like, oh, okay.
I know it's going to be tough, and I actually, my goal was, and I don't know if it still is based on what I've seen now, but my goal was to be a dual Grandmaster processor, and I wanted to have my own freehold because the freehold is required for that. I also noticed that only 10% of people will own a freehold, but up to 90% of the population of players can have access to a freehold through the family system. And so, like, it does seem that everybody can get a freehold effectively.
No,
but
you can participate if somebody invites you in. But getting a freehold, it's so incredibly limited. It's the most limited property you can get on the entire thing. Outside, I think the end node housing might be a touch more limited, but
I also don't think that's a system that people understand yet. In that, like, if I own a freehold and I'm a lumber miller, you can't be on my freehold and do your animal husbandry, because I think the system is going to be very similar to what the mayor's system is right now, in that you must have a certain number of support buildings, a certain number, like I think that it's going to be very similar to that system. And so like people, like there was some random guy on the forums that asked me if he could have animal husbandry on my freehold, and I'm like, I don't know you, and I was like, we'll see when the system comes, but like this is like probably a year and a half ago still, and I'm like, ain't no way, bro. Sorry. But yeah, like I wonder how people don't quite understand the way the intent of the system is, and I'm really interested to hear.
It's those soft points of friction and hard points of friction, because I think a freehold is going to be a hard point of friction, to be honest.
Yeah,
because there's going to be a certain number.
I don't like
of
the
them
way
per
it is
node.
now, but that sounds like what you just said.
Yeah, there's only a certain number per node, and I guarantee you, unless it's some form of super hotbed, there's not going to be a lot of people who are going to be really excited about getting a freehold on the backwood corners of the map, far away from all the action, because they're not going to be able to run a business there. The business owners, like the taverns, etc., they're going to want to be more centralized or more near a point of interest that people want to go to.
I have a stance that I want to tell you guys on this. So the three purposes of a freehold are aesthetics and housing, processing, and services, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with you guys wanting your services. People that want it for the aesthetics and the housing, you need to get the fuck away from the processors' freeholds, because like the whole purpose is processing. You got to give your processors the freeholds. They are the ones that need their freeholds.
Here's your exception. Taverns will supply some of the housing capabilities for people.
It will also do some of the processing, I would think, with like.
Yeah, I think we'd be able to put a processing item on there. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's gonna be a tavern and processing. Yeah, it'd be great if we could put two taverns.
I also have the suspicion that the one of the services on a freehold is going to be PvP arenas, and so I think you'll have some PvP mouth breathers who will be wanting a service of that. But I don't know if you guys saw this, but in the freehold live stream, they actually had concept art, and one that they did not mention or speak about was one of a clear, evident PvP arena on the picture.
I'll have to go back and see that. It's been way too long.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah, please do. Real quick, I just shared out on YouTube and on Twitch the dev discussion number 77 talking about Quest, and this is related because at the end they're asking roughly what percentage of your level experience do you feel should come from questing compared to other activities such as grinding, gathering, and events, and what helps you feel connected to the game world, and what could Ashes of Creation do to feel more immersive and dynamic. So if this is your chance to go and answer that, I already put my answer in. I felt like 50 to 74% of the time should be done from like questing if you're not going to be doing grinding, with 25 to 50% of the time being like the events and the gathering and the artisanships and the grinding. And the commissions, I put commissions in that same thing away from quests. So that was my thought process on that. And I just wanted to share that out. That's their newest dev discussion. This means a lot to me because I hate grinding to get to 25. I'd much rather do quests and commissions and events to get there.
Something interesting. If I want to grind, I would do a, Korean MMO.
I'll go play BDO.
Yeah.
I played Ragnarok Online for
it?
far too long.
We'll go back to Elion.
Zero quests, so
I played Ragnarok Online and I just did cooking. That's all I did. I was like, I'll be your cook. I don't know.
It was funny because it is a Korean MMO, and so like that, like I come from the grind mindset. I like the idea of 50%. I just don't want 100%. I don't. Yeah. In World of Warcraft, you can quest all the way 0 to 60, or like to 130, whatever the max level is now. But you can grind or you can quest all the way up, and I don't want it to be 100%. I want you to have to interact with the world.
I think, I think that it's okay to make grinding a possible way to level up, a valid way to level up.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think it should be on par with the same amount of time it would take to literally do like the core quest and some side quests.
That was my answer. That was what I said.
And a lot of side quests. So you have to actually go look for them and travel the world to find them. But it's more interesting and it'll take you about the same amount of time as just grinding.
That's exactly what I said.
The kill quest on the boards is one thing that I was disappointed in. Because like we had killed all the named elite mobs in the bottom of Ursine, and I was like, hey, let's go back to town.
I felt so bad.
I was like, let's go back to town and get the quest again and kill them again. And they're like, dude, if you just kill 2 bears in that time that it took you to go back to town, you get the quest experience for getting the. And I'm like, oh. I'm so disappointed now because like I was like I feel good doing this quest board and everything like that, and so you only got the elite mobs when you went back to town anyways to like sell, and so I was like disappointed in that. So
real quick, there's a question and a statement there in chat, but before it also brought to mind Duffels had the question earlier. Chibi, you brought it up, and I was fighting with the bot to make sure it would actually highlight it.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
What do we think about the skills or the skill reassignment while out in the field?
Yes, you never answered that.
Yeah. So real quick, my answer on that is I've always been you should be able to change it while you're not in combat mindset. When it comes to configuration of skills specifically, if you want to change your entire secondary archetype, you should visit a node. If you want to change your primary archetype, sorry, you picked fighter, you're a fighter. But that's my tier preference. But with it being changed to where you always have to go back to a node, I think that's kind of poop, to be honest. If you lose a party member and you really can't find another rogue, and they provided a debuff, and 3 people in the party can provide a similar debuff, but every one of them would need to go back to the node to do it, you've just officially lost your leveling spot. It's gone. Yeah. You're going to go back to the node, you're going to come back, somebody else is there, you're going to have to fight over it, and it's just a big pain in the ass, and people are probably going to be like, well, guess we're done here. Have a good night, guys.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Feels bad, man. I'm going to test how much adventure levels I get just doing professions to max artisanship level. Fair. I think that should get you a decent amount of the way, but not like all the way. Now, that being said, this is a challenge to the community. I'm challenged somebody out there to level all the way up to 25 just by artisanships, no matter how long it takes, because I remember somebody doing it in World of Warcraft where they never they never killed anybody. They didn't do any of the kill quests, and they got all the way up to max level, and it took a very long time. Yes,
I would say that I'm a tank, therefore I'm already challenged enough, but artisan leveling might actually be quicker than leveling solo as a tank. So
possibly.
I actually think that Grumpy Guy will achieve this. I don't know. I know he came back to 2.5 just to test it to see how it is.
Your time has come.
Oh yeah, it's faster. Or it was like he sounded excited for Grumpy Guy, as excited as Grumpy Guy can get, So
yeah. I agree. I think that I would love to see it. I think Intrepid's intent is for whatever way you want to level is viable, and Vladis had jumped into our VC last night, was asking me about quests, and I had misunderstood that Ashes didn't want it to be like a grindy game, because I remembered specifically Steven saying he didn't want quests to be grindy. And again, it's all about perspective. I care more about quests than just going out and grinding. So to me, that says my gameplay will not be grindy. So like the way that I took that was because that's my primary way of preferable leveling. I can handle going through and grinding, but it's not fun. And I'm doing it just to help Intrepid. But if I had it my way, I would be doing quests, I'd be doing events. I want to see way more events. I would be doing like a lot more of the artisan stuff. I'd love to see what changes they're making with that. And it's one of those things, like, that's much more my type of gameplay.
I mean, Lark even says maybe they should give caravanners experience so they can level that way. Could you imagine somebody leveling
I would love
all the way
to
up to
see
level
that.
50 just doing caravans? Like, they hit level like
I would
10,
love to see that.
become a citizen, lock down some node citizenship, and then from that point on, that's all they did to level was just caravans 24/7.
It would
spending so much
incentivize people
time.
to run caravans.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it
You're
would,
spending
actually.
so much time. And like on top of that, the further you go, the more XP you get. So you can either stay local and do 1,000,001 little caravan things and be like the little merchant traders, right? Or you could be the grand for Vertec, the way of the leaf, and just explore the world with your caravan.
XP for defending caravans as well. The one thing I would say, like, you still have the risk versus reward, where if you don't land that caravan, you still don't get that XP. I'd be okay with that. But I would say in this case, actually no XP for attacking caravans. You incentivize the defense, you incentivize the running of them.
That is a much better approach, I think.
Idea.
Actually, I think I really like that idea. That would give some solid reason to defend a random caravan running by you. And at the same time, the attackers have the benefit of getting the money profit from it.
I had this as well. Like right now, like I felt like their question that they asked, Intrepid asked about the guild progression system, was probably the most tone deaf question they could have asked. That they don't understand that nobody's progressing their guild. And I presented this specifically to Psycho because I know how much he wants the guild systems of like guild banks and guild organization and stuff. I was like, if they put the guild banks behind the guild progression system, we would run that as fast as we possibly could, right? And he's like, yes, 100%. And like right now, the guild progression system is not worth the value that you get out of it. So like people are just having multiple guilds and things like that, and they're just they're avoiding that system, and so you have to incentivize it in such a way. And I like that for the caravan system with the XP, because I think it incentivizes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the only problem is with that though is that that's literally putting something behind a locked door just to force somebody to unlock a door.
to do a system.
Like if you put you get a guild, and then to get the guild bank, you have to do the system. Oh, look, people are participating in the system. Well, only because you put an absolute, like, bare minimum requirement for a guild behind a locked door.
That's good evidence that that's a shitty system. Now, increase the size of the guild banks, maybe
that's perfectly golden right there. That's amazing, because you don't need to do that to get your guild bank functionality. But if you want to have a bigger guild bank because you're a crafting guild, you're probably going to want those extra supplies hanging around at all times.
You guys are on fire tonight. I'm just gonna say. I love these takes. These takes are so good.
We went through a lot.
We did.
Yeah,
we covered a wide gamut of stuff, man.
I don't want to forget people. I don't want to forget people from YouTube. So we have Lark that said, if the leveling experience isn't changed for Alpha 3 or Phase 3, will you all play it actively? And I said I would probably just get to max level as quickly as possible, and then do artisan stuff. But then Wizard says, like, Ashes has a good starting base for their questing. It's very in depth when they're all finished. But then also added, like, events are a little lackluster currently. They need a bump to encourage more people wanting to do them. And I have kind of a hot take, maybe, that, like, I feel like Intrepid inadvertently is guiding people to certain nodes because those nodes have more fleshed out events in them. Therefore, it naturally draws players in that direction. Think Winstead and Miraleth over Jova and Nuela. There's not really any events out in Jova Nuela area, but there's a ton of them between Miraleth and Winstead, and like that whole space between them. So I think if they were to adjust to add more events to those other areas, it would make it, I want to see it be like almost equatable. Like, which direction do you want to go? Every direction is viable. And that's what I want to see.
Well, I know they still have a lot of work to do on the event system, and they've said that before. Like, there's a lot of functionality behind the events that just aren't in place, especially the ones that have like prerequisites.
Yeah.
that something needs to be met first.
Yeah.
Those are definitely not really like fleshed out for sure, and probably won't be for a little bit yet. So I think, and this is just my own theory, I think they're trying to get node functionality down a little bit more before they worry about things that are predicated on the node situations.
Yeah.
But yeah, if they were to add just a couple of the other random events, like the little like there's bandits on the road, and you just need to take out some bandits. Cool. Those can be sprinkled around everywhere. Like absolutely, make it more widespread. Just grow bigger pockets.
There is so much that like people come in and they see the gameplay and they see the game and they're like, oh, this is a beautiful game, and like tell me about this game and things like that. There is so much at just the eye level that people don't understand about this game. And this is another one that comes from Steven streaming. He was talking about in phase 1 about how some of the roads have like visual bugs to them. And he's like, this is not a World of Warcraft road where you can just, you have a picture of a road. But what goes into this road is how many layers are underneath the road, that when the node increases their road speed, this road has tech that's built into it, that it's not just a visual road, it actually has purpose. And like there's so much stuff that it is below the surface on these systems. And like what you were talking about with the event specifically, I don't know if this is the case. It's one of the new events that I hadn't seen before. You're going out of Samia's Hope and you're going straight over to Marilith. I started to pick a bunch of flowers. There were snowdrops that were in this area, and there was a bunch of them. And I'm like, oh, shit, I'm going to level up my herbalism right now. And I started to pick these flowers, and then it said, Grims have appeared from under the brush. And so I don't know if this was just like a random time kind of thing or whatnot. And I don't know if it was my activation of picking the flowers that caused it.
Picking too many flowers and making them angry.
But
do you have a bot of that?
I think so. I do. I think it was Saturday morning.
Send that to me, please.
It's all suspicion. I don't actually know if it's actually.
I know,
active.
but can you send that to me though? I have an idea. Okay, cool.
Okay, I got to the very end of the event, and it was 3-star Grims that were like they just kicked my ass. I died, and I was the only one around, and so I was like, I didn't get to finish the event, but it was really interesting because I saw all these flowers that were in this area, and like based on what you guys are talking about, it feels like that could have been the activation of the quest, and I don't know.
Yeah.
But if it's in, it's in, maybe, but
I would love to see that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll find the video for you and send it over to you.
Okay. I will say there are also like along that same vein, there is a quest out in the Turquoise Sea area. I forgot exactly where it was. I haven't seen the map in like a long time, but it was on PTR that I found it. There's a Dunir dwarf standing by himself, and he's got like a little campfire next to him. And if you go up and talk to him, he will give you a quest. And I think it was like to kill iguanas or something. But I think if you killed an X amount of iguanas for him as an event, you would be able to I think get like maybe a recipe from him or something. That's a theory craft because I didn't get to finish. I was just by myself, and I activated this like event through interacting with an NPC. So like it sounds like to me, based off of like what you just said and what I experienced, they are adding more interactivity with their events. Because I didn't, that wasn't just an event that popped up. I was just like, oh, there's this Dunir dude. Let me go talk to him. Oh, cool. He sells stuff. Or, oh, cool. He's got a quest. Sure, I'll pick it up. Oh, shit. I started an event.
I know that in phase 1, I was running with Threather, and we just got into a party together, and I was like, hey, there's this elite up here. Come help me kill this. And then on his way over, he stopped by a tower and talked to a guard. And he's like, hey, I just picked up this quest. So after we kill this mob, let's go back over here and get this quest, and we're going to start this. We spent like 3.5 hours just going. And we ended up getting to a certain point where we actually felt the quest was no longer we looked everywhere for where this could have been, and just could not. This before they even added the zone locations of where the quest goes to. And I actually, thinking about it now, I want to go back and try and do this quest line again to see where that thing was. And we just assumed it was broken, but we spent like 3.5 hours just lost in the sauce, going, and it's stuff like that that I have not done in an MMO in a very, very long time, because like it wasn't just, hey, question mark above this guy, exclamation mark above this guy, and like, it felt good to just explore in this game, and I love it.
It's like I love the quest with the Minotaurs and the little graveyard. Like that's amazing. That whole thing was fantastic.
I don't think I've done that one.
I haven't finished it.
One thing that Oracle raves about is the golem and the gravestones.
Yeah. Yep. It's the little like islands where there's a ton of Minotaur, like north of Jova, south of Jueva, south of Halcyon.
Yeah.
There's an island in the southern part that has a big ugly golem and a bunch of gravestones. There's a really interesting
and like
quest there.
Hellhounds, I think, but they don't attack you.
Yeah. Well, they do now.
Oh.
They do now. Yeah, they've changed it. Those things will absolutely eat you. I was taking a shortcut through that area, and I was like, "Hey, puppies, how's it going?" Oh. run.
Oh, okay.
What was your question you got from your YouTube person? That the first one that you read over there, like about phase 3.
Oh, if the leveling experience isn't changed for phase 3, will you play it actively? Because I mentioned preferring like questing.
Oh, gotcha. Like as long as like I did have an answer to that, and the thing that I said about this game, and I've said it many times, people complain about there not being content in the game. But and I don't think that Vertex is gonna like my answer to this, but like the content is completely and everywhere in this game, but it requires two things. It requires the team that you are with, and it requires the soft friction that you have with other teams. And so if I have both of those things, I will play. I love to play this game all the time anyways. It is incredibly fun to me, but if I don't have my team, like 2.5 Suspects kind of taking a break and a chill pill on it, and so I don't have my team, and so even though there's a friction within the game, it's not fun. And if you get to like the end of phase 2, when everybody else kind of stopped playing and you kind of ran out of that friction, that also didn't feel fun. And so like I don't want them to make this a theme park game where they set up all the content for us. I love the idea of it being player created content, but you have to have your team and you have to have their teams. And if you don't have that, it doesn't feel as interesting and fun. And so I know that most people probably don't like this, but I'm pro one server phase 3 as well. Because I think that we need more of that soft friction, and I think the more that they build the world out, the less soft friction you're going to have within the game.
We'll see.
I think that might not be the case, especially since they're planning on reducing corruption penalties, which means that there's going to be more people like, nope, this is our leveling spot, we're just going to murder you.
Okay.
Instead of like actually having like, let's see who can DPS more. Okay, let me go like shove myself over in this corner. We'll just keep an eye on that spot, and when it opens up, we'll go over there. No, like they'll just walk over and like clear you out of there completely, because when they level up one more time, they're gonna be able to pull your mobs too, and they want those mobs. And so now it's a matter of like, well, I guess I'm either a PvP lord or I'm screwed and I'm not doing anything.
We actually fought Elite Zenkai early over a position, and they had a couple levels on most of our guys, and so they just ran us right over. And so like, I don't know, but like I feel that as they build the world out, we're gonna have not enough people to fill the spot. That's
Here's the thing. Ashes has always been kind of like, not going back to the age old Ash is a PvX game, but going back to the age old, this is a sand park theme box game. So
Yeah.
like having that like balance between sandbox and theme park is going to be important. Like I think too much balance towards players have to make their own content and their own things, and it gets a little bit boring for those of us that want content that feels more like on the theme park side. And then vice versa, tip too much towards theme park and you start to kind of lose player agency a little bit. So I think that like finding that balance between the two is really important.
So here's the one thing that we could really look at. So everyone's been of the frame of mind that Intrepid's probably going to increase server capacity for max concurrent players at a time, because of the fact that they are, if you mathematically run it out, the tests that they've been performing are going to cram the entire map, instead of like a 10,000 player max concurrency, it's like a 30,000 or 60,000 player concurrency. If you were to scale it out from what they have right now, like scale it out from when it was 5 nodes, the amount of players they had testing that area scaled out to the entire map would have been like 60,000 people concurrently playing on the same server. So if it is only 10,000 and they keep it at that, maybe even bumping up to 15,000, it's going to thin the population for sure. At that point, maybe the corruption system being lightened may not be such a burden, but if they're cramming so much over the top into such a small area than what they were originally planning for the full servers, I personally think there's almost no way they're not planning to expand server concurrency like more than just let's up it by 50%. No, I think they're looking at maybe 2 or 3 times the amount. But that's a personal opinion. Sorry, Chibi,
I was going to bring that up next because you and Vladis agreed on that. You and Vladis said that there should be a higher player pop with the expanded territory. And I said, well, let's just see how it feels the way it is first, because it's easier to add people than it is to be like, no, sorry, you made a character on here, bye. But I want to see the way that Intrepid intended for it to be first and figure out how that feels. If it feels too empty, by all means, add more people. I'm for it. But let me at least see first their 10K maximum players, per server thing. But also, the only reason, Pawkets, I am against your opinion, and maybe it's just for phase 3. Fine, by all means. Just for phase 3, as long as the live servers have multiple servers to choose from. But the reasoning for that is the biggest draw for myself and multiple others in our community here is we love the diverse experiences between the servers. Like at first I was sad. I was genuinely sad I was not on the same server as the rest of you, because when we came back from our hurricane, I was like, all of my friends are over on Vira and we're on Lineth. And then the more that I was like understanding what you guys were going through and I was seeing how it went for us, not even from the PvP perspective, but like, what did we build up? What did you build up? How did we build it up? Like, where are you guys at in that development? Like, that was very intriguing for me. And that was very fun to do like a pro and con of them and be like, we are higher in our artisanship levels, but we have little money compared to you.
I really love the differences in them. And like one of the things, I think it was one of my stream titles when they moved Lineth and Vira to one server. I made a joke about like Steven likes soft friction, but this is more like sandpaper on your balls. This is Steven's idea of soft friction. Okay, no. He just wants to see the world burn. But one of the things in phase 2 that I hated about Vira is Winstead had built the lumber milling station and New Ayla had built the carpenter station. And so every single carpenter had to run their happy ass from, and like I had gotten down to New Ayla and I realized that I had dried my braidwood, but it needed to be normal braidwood. And so I had to run back up to Winstead. I actually had forgotten to pick up the right braidwood. and then I went back down and then realized I'd forgotten it. And then I had to go back up to Winstead and then back down to New Ayla to get the stuff made. And I was like,
Yeah.
I hate this. And
Yeah.
Lineker, I believe it was Lineker, came in on Shoal and just built 2 lumber mills. And people are like, why would you build 2 lumber mills? I'm like, no, Lineker is the GOAT for this alone. Like when the whole server is saying like, don't do this. No. Bro knows what he's doing. Leave him alone. This is glorious. Like
processing and crafting in the same spot for the same chain.
Yeah.
And I'm like Lineker, tell them to shut up, build what you're gonna build. Like I don't like, and I think he got pushed out of his spot, but like
Oh, no.
I would have voted that guy in like the whole time. Like I love
Yeah.
like, and I'm going to be really interested to see how different servers do different things. And there are going to be some people that get a node and they're just going to say, nope, we're doing it this way. And there's going to be people to do that bad and they completely ruin and crash the entire server. And there's going to be some people that do it really well. And so like, I'm here for that. And I can't wait for actual node vassaling and node, parent nodes and things like that, and like the people that do the right thing for their citizens and for the server, they are going to be the ones that are going to progress probably the best.
I'm just trying to imagine the crowd's
not.
reaction when somebody builds like 3 cookhouses in one node, because I think they're all separated between animal husbandry and cooking and farming, and if you want to take any of them to the max, you need a separate cookhouse for each.
Yeah.
I was also gonna say, genuinely, like going back to the whole reputation matters, right? Your actions, whether you know it or not, will affect you starting even now.
Yeah.
The community remembers. Like, there's people that remember shit from like Alpha 0. And I'm like, I don't even remember that. And they're like, oh, I remember that. I was like, okay. You know?
Vera Farms remembers. Vera Farms remembers.
Yeah, Vera Farms remembers. But like the North remembers, yeah. But like if you interfere with like a community event, if you interfere with a role play event, if you are an asshole of a mayor, people are going to remember these things. People are going to note when you actually do a good job and when you're causing problems for other people. And either they're going to flock to you because you're their type of content, or they're going to outwardly reject you from their entire server. And that is something that, you know, people like when we get to the live servers, these are going to actually make a difference. Like right now, it doesn't matter because things are going to get reset and there's no consequence. But when the live servers happen, the consequences will happen. If you destroy your node or your server because half your guilds that are kind of griefy or like just toxic band together and create a very toxic environment, you're gonna see that server disappear. You're gonna see people transfer off of that server. They'd rather go somewhere else that's more friendly, and you're gonna be stuck on a very dead server fighting for resources and trying to make things run when you don't have the people.
See, that's going to be the fun part, though. Steven said that there are no plans to introduce server transfers outside of.
Oh, I'm not talking about like through the game. People would be like, do I want to sit here and deal with these jerks that are making a day-to-day life hell, or do I want to go over here and level in a situation that's much more friendly for me?
It's gonna be a tough call, even for me, and I like to get out of situations like that, but. Because man, if it's close to 300 hours to level a character to max, plus all the time of getting everything else in there, and all the resources and all the armor and getting all the crafted stuff, etc.
Yeah,
that's a lot to walk away from.
It is, but if half the server is doing anything hell, it becomes a question of, can I even play this game that I pay really good money to play, or is this something that I can handle? And Sun Tzu says, what if the toxic players just make characters on every server? That's absolutely bound to happen.
I love the spelling of that
what
name,
I have
by the way.
seen, Yeah, me too.
Sun Tzu is our
What I
Sun
have
Tzu.
seen, yeah, what I have seen is like a server band together and push a toxic guild off.
Mhm. Going back to your reputation thing, there was a night, like we usually ran our caravans in the morning, and so we were planning on doing one from like Winstead down to the desert. And this was towards the middle of phase 2. I think it was with the guild progression, and I think it was actually we were trying the guild progression system. And so I had like 3 or 4 guild commodities in mind, and people are like, hey, we're going to move our caravans at the same time. We're kind of like use it as protection and stuff like that. And we noticed that Barcode started to like flock to us, right? And ended up having like 15 people that came to attack us going from Halcyon to Winstead. And we got there safe. And as soon as I got into town, one of these guys from Barcode messaged me and he goes, I'll get you one of these days. And I'm like, what do you mean? Because like I'm like, what's going on? And he goes, in phase 1, you were the first person, your group was the first people to kill my caravan in the lawless zone, and I will never forget. And I'm like, oh, hey, you're in the lawless zone. You're kind of free game. I'm sorry. And his guild that he was with, it was one of the guilds that I don't mind attacking because like they've been kind of annoying to me, right? And so he wasn't in Barcode at the time. He was in some other guild. Maybe it was like Verdant or something like that. I don't even know.
Yeah.
But he did not forget. And I still to this day, I'm like, I don't remember his name even still, but like I know somebody is looking for me. And so yes, like they will remember. They will remember names, and yeah, they'll come back and get it. So
yeah,
Verdant merged into Barcode. So it was probably Verdant. Then yeah. I killed his first caravan, and
now you're gonna pay.
Still
someday.
Trying to find my caravan. So yeah.
Someday. Oh my goodness. Well, we've been live for a good little bit here. We could probably start getting ready to do the wrap up thing and maybe get our friends over to another friend.
Yeah.
Say hi.
I hear the dwarves are assembling.
Dwarves are assembling. They're becoming Dwarftron?
Sure. If you take a shot at someone, make sure it kills them. Oh my gosh. I just want to say thank you guys so very much for joining us and for hanging out with us. And I really appreciate just all of your input in your chats and everything. If you don't already follow us on YouTube, we are so very close to 1K. We are, I want to say 39 away now.
39 last I saw. Yeah.
39 followers on YouTube away from 1K. And that's a really big milestone. My goal is by the end of 2025 to hit that. That would be really ideal. But, we have this live streamed over there as well. And this kind of lives over there longer because Twitch has their 2-week long archive before it goes away. And then on top of that, there's going to be our summits that will live over there, and the shorter content that I'm putting up, as well as our subscriber only things for members are going to be over there. So there's some things we're trying to make it where YouTube has some reason for you to be over there as well. But at the very least, while we're live, if you can't afford to subscribe to our Twitch watching on YouTube, you're going to be a little bit behind. We're still going to see your messages, but there won't be any ads while we're live. So that's still a way to stay connected, just in case like the ads are annoying you over on Twitch. But yeah, that's my spiel. And if you liked our conversation on skill trees, I think we're going to continue that along with guild skill trees or guild trees on Tuesday for Tuesday's Tavern Talk. So keep your eye out for that. Bertek, I throw it over to you.
Well, I'm gonna rethrow it elsewhere. Pawkets. Do you have anything that you would like to say? And do you have any last words you'd like to share with the group?
Wow, you threatening him now?
Well, no, because Vertek has to do his thank you for your time. speak
Yeah.
up,
Well, he
right?
said any last words.
Okay,
so-
well, but that's why he wants to go last. He wants to.
Yeah.
All right. No, not really. I'm trying to stream. I think that Ashes is definitely my game. But I'm trying to be as mindful to my guild and my people, my team, to let them have like their breaks and stuff like that. And so I'm not playing it as much as I would like to. I actually feel like that's a quote from like Bilbo Baggins. I can't even do it justice for what it needs to be done. But I'm not playing it near as much as I like to, and I'm not progressing as what I have done before. But I think that coming in phase 3, I'm going to come in pretty strong and keep, like, I would like to keep streaming it. I really feel that that's my game. It's the game that I want to play right now. And so, like, I've been doing pretty consistently every Saturday morning. I at least stream Ashes then. I want to do it during all my summer, but there's just not a lot of incentive for me to be constantly on Ashes. And so, like, I want to keep doing it and stuff, but Saturday mornings seem to be the good time for me to start doing that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
Wow.
eventually I need to get Chibi and make a book.
Yes,
cosplay
we
book.
need to plan that
Do it.
out. That would be
Do it.
amazing.
I want to try and get some intrepid people to join up for that, but I have not heard back from them too much.
Maybe we can poke them together and be like, hey,
It'd be great.
ideas.
I want to do like a cosplay, like, for everybody else that doesn't know what I'm talking about. I would like, how did it start talking about the book?
I reached out to you because you make props, and I was like, hey, I worked really freaking hard to make this book from the Highwayman Hills, the Forsaken Blades book, and I really want to remake it into like an actual book. And you're like, ooh,
Okay.
I want to do that too. And I was like, let's do it together. Maybe you can teach me.
So I would like to do like a teaching stream of it. And like I had made this one like to kind of start, but it doesn't function and it doesn't open. And so
Yeah.
like, I think that we want to try and make one with you that actually opens and functions. And so I'm going to have one that's kind of like
Yeah.
more just aesthetic.
Yeah.
Just make sure when you put it together, make sure the drones are really quiet so when it's floating there, people don't hear it buzzing.
So it's floating.
Oh, gotcha. It'd be so cool to be, that's one of the things that I love about what you're able to do with like digital art. You can actually make it very fantastical. And that's one of the things of making real art that, okay, how do I make this function
Actually
like what it's supposed to be? And so
Mhm.
like, I actually, this is like, I talk about this because if you guys play League of Legends, there's a girl champion named Senna, and she has a gun that is the size of her. And so I made my prop in such a way that a teenage, small, petite girl could hold this gun that is bigger than hers, bigger than herself, and still like look like it's effortless and light. And so like trying to take those fantastical things and make them so they work is something that I really like to do. And sometimes I'm like, it's just not going to happen. Like the big question I get from my Carfin mace is, are you going to make the floating stones that go around it? And I'm like, no, because I'm not magical. I thought about like doing it with like wires and stuff like that, but it's nice to be able to make things that look like it works and functions in a way. And so like I do want to do that with you with the book. I would like to get more people involved with the teaching stream, if so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's it for me. So Vertec, on to you.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for hanging out with us. Thank you for spending your time here. As we do always say, it is your most valuable commodity. Once you've spent it, you do not get it back. Therefore, if we could, we would not give you refunds anyway, because we're a tavern and we're trying to make money.
Yeah.
And time is money. So if we collect your time, we're getting richer, right? All right. I like it. But yeah, for those of you who are watching, if you love this content, please feel free to at least do the free stuff, the follows, the likes, the subscribes, whatever doesn't cost you money. It helps us. It does. just like
does.
chatting with us, it does help us. Makes us feel good. Makes us feel real good when you just interact with us. But if you're really awesome, please feel free to do the paid stuff too. Just saying. But aside from that, everybody, again, thank you for your time. You're all been lovely. It's been a great day, a great conversation. Pockets, you're fantastic as always.
Thank you, guys.
Everyone, have yourselves a fantastic Saturday, right? Yeah, Saturday. Oh, this week's been crazy.
I don't even know what day it is.
Yeah,
Summertime.
I've lost track. Throughout the week, I've had to ask other people what day it is.
I feel that. We'll be back
catch you
tomorrow,
around next time.
I believe, with Fablecraft.
Fablecraft.
Yes. 2 p.m.
Take care,
Eastern.
everybody.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.